Today on The Domestic Geek, we are spicing things up with some homemade seasoning blends. You won't believe how cheap and easy they are to put together. What I love about making my own spice blends is that I get to control what goes in them. Nothing that I can't pronounce. To make these blends, I'm going to be using a very sophisticated kitchen tool that I like to call the paper towel funnel. This is going to prevent a big mess of herbs from landing all over my counter. This amazing Italian seasoning can be used in anything, from poultry to pasta. I even love to mix it with olive oil and then dip my bread in it. It's got classic Italian flavors like basil and oregano and garlic, and it is to die for. We're starting with a tablespoon each of basil, rosemary, oregano, marjoram, thyme, garlic powder, and parsley. What I love about this recipe is that it's all in equal parts, so you can make as much or as little as you like. This Cajun spice recipe is an absolute staple in my house. I love it on seafood, on poultry, and especially in rice and bean dishes. It's totally delicious, and you can control the heat. So we're starting with 2 tablespoons of coarse salt and 2 tablespoons of paprika. I love using smoked paprika because it's just got a nicer flavor. We're gonna follow that with 1 tablespoon each of garlic and onion powder, and then 1½ teaspoons of oregano and of thyme. It's time to add our heat. I've got 1½ teaspoons of ground pepper, crushed red pepper flakes, and cayenne pepper. Now this is really where the heat gets controlled. You can add as little or as much cayenne as you want. I love this taco seasoning. I'll use it on beef, poultry, and seafood. And wouldn't you know it, it's actually great in tacos. We are going to be starting with a whole lot of chili powder. That's the base for any great Southwestern spice mix. Then we're going to add some cumin, such a delicious, unique flavor. Nothing tastes quite like cumin. Then we're gonna use some onion powder and some garlic powder. Top that with a little bit of paprika. And finally, we're gonna hit it with a little bit of oregano, some salt, and some cayenne pepper to add just a bit of heat. So our Greek seasoning is by far the most involved. It definitely has the most ingredients, but remember, all of this stuff can be found at your local bulk food store. And once you've made it, you've made a huge batch, so you can use it on everything from chicken to lamb to beef. I love it on potatoes and even in Greek salad dressing. And once you've made a huge batch like this, you won't have to make another for a good 6 months to a year. Unless you really love it, then you could be making it every week if you wanted to. We're gonna be starting with 2 tablespoons of dried oregano and then 1 tablespoon each of basil, thyme, rosemary, dillweed, parsley flakes, garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, 1 teaspoon of marjoram, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and finally a teaspoon of nutmeg. When you're making these blends, keep in mind that you can either keep them very coarse as they are, or you can put them through a coffee grinder and get a nice fine grind. All these great recipes are listed in the description below or on thedomesticgeek.com. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for lots of great recipes and, of course, lots of tips, tricks, and shortcuts for making your life easier.